When I was growing up, ramen noodles, hot dogs, hot pockets, peanut butter jelly sandwiches, chips, candy, soda, and all kind of processed foods were a normal part of my diet. That's not to say I've never ate healthy foods, but I definitely didn't grow up with a strong understanding of nutrition or what it really meant to take care of my body. And honestly, I didn't think much about it because it was normal. It was what everyone around me was eating. It was convenient, affordable, and easy. So I carried many of those habits into adulthood. It wasn't until I met my husband that my eyes started to open. He began teaching me about food, ingredients, nutrition, and how what we put into our bodies actually matter. Even then, it wasn't an overnight change. It's been a process. Now, as I've grown in my walk with Christ, I've realized that God doesn't just care about one area of our lives. He cares about all areas of our lives. For a long time, I thought about following Jesus. I mostly thought about reading the Bible, praying, growing spiritually, and being a better person. Those things are incredibly important, but what God has shown me recently is that He wants to be involved in every part of our lives. He wants to teach me how to be a better wife, how to be a better mother, how to manage my home, how to manage my finances, and in this season, how to care for my body and that of my family. As a wife and mother, I have that responsibility. Every day, I'm serving food to my family. I'm placing meals on my children's plates. I'm teaching them habits that will follow them into adulthood. Because I'm responsible for help shaping my children's future, I need wisdom about what I'm teaching them. And I started praying and asking God to give me wisdom and knowledge and understanding and discernment. And as I've been learning, I'm realizing that many of the things we grew up believing were normal really weren't, and they were very unhealthy. When you start looking at ingredients and labels, it can be very eye-opening. The drinks we grew up drinking, the snacks we grew up eating, the foods that are heavily marketed to children, many of them are packaged with sugar, artificial ingredients, preservatives, and things that our bodies simply can't process. Now, I'm not saying that we eat perfect. I'm not saying that we never eat a cookie or a piece of cake or enjoy a treat. What I'm talking about is making healthy choices our lifestyle instead of making unhealthy choices our lifestyle. One thing God has been teaching me is the importance of eating more foods that He created. Fruits, vegetables, eggs, meats, beans, foods that come from the earth and that haven't been heavily processed. And honestly, one of the biggest challenges that I have was helping my children develop a love for those foods. I've learned something as a parent. It's much easier to teach healthy habits from the beginning than it is to unteach unhealthy habits once they've been established. I learned that lesson with my younger two girls because I was more intentional from the start. It was easier to encourage healthy eating habits. But with my older children, I introduced a lot more junk food and bad foods early on. And if I'm being honest, it's something that I really do regret. And I didn't give them these foods because I was trying to harm them. It was just, what everyone does. I thought it was normal and fine and okay. But now that I've learned more, I can see how easy it is for children to become more dependent on sugar and processed foods. The more they eat it, the more they crave it. And trying to reverse those habits can be so difficult, even for adults. That's why I believe it's important for us as parents to be intentional. Not perfect, but intentional. Because every small choice adds up over time. Something else that has really changed the way I think about grocery shopping was a simple tip that I heard from someone. They said the healthiest foods are usually found around the outside of the grocery store aisles. And when I thought about it, it made a lot of sense. That's where you typically find foods like the fruits, the vegetables, the meats, the eggs, the dairy products. When you move into the center aisles, that's where you find many of the packaged and heavily processed foods. Of course, there are exceptions, but that simple trick helped me start making healthier choices. Instead of filling my cart with boxes and bags and packages, I've been trying to fill it more with whole foods, more foods that actually nourish my family. And this journey is still ongoing. I haven't arrived. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. But I'm still asking God for wisdom. And I'm so grateful that He opened my eyes. I'm grateful that He cares enough to teach me. I'm grateful that He isn't only interested in my spiritual growth, but in my body as well, and in every area of my life. Because the truth is, I want to be healthy for my family. I want to have the energy to serve my husband. I want to be present for my children. And I want to be a good steward of the body that God has given me, and teaching my children to do the same. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 22:6 to train up a child in the way that they should go. So in a way that he should go. So when he is older, he will not depart from it. And now I know that includes teaching them to care for the bodies that God has given them. So if you're on a similar journey, I want to encourage you. Start small. Read labels. Add more fruits. Add more vegetables. Make one healthy swap at a time. And pray and ask God for wisdom. And He will give it to you generously. He cares about your health. He cares about your family. And He will guide you as you seek Him. I'm praying that this fruit of self-control, wisdom, and stewardship continues to grow in my life so I can better serve God, my husband, and my children, and the calling that He has given me. If you're on this journey too, I'd love to hear more about what healthy changes you have been making in your life. Until next time, bye for now.